This is the Avicii Podcast. Welcome.
Hey everyone, my name is Pacific and you're listening to the very first episode of the monthly Avicii Podcast, a podcast made by the community for the community. In our podcast, we will talk about Tim, his life, his music and interesting facts. We will speak with people from the Avicii community, gain insights into the history of the Avicii community and hear stories from fans around the world about how Tim has influenced their lives, while also discussing topics such as mental health awareness. But most importantly, in every podcast there will be a bunch of music from Avicii and tracks he played during his career. For this first podcast we have a special guest, but more on that later. Enough talking. Let's start with the first track. Here's Tim's remix of the song Every Teardrop is a Waterfall by Coldplay.
I turn the music up, I got my records on. From underneath the rug, we'll sing a rebel song. Don't wanna see another generation drop. I'd rather be a comma than a full stop. Maybe I'm in the black, maybe I'm on my knees. Maybe I'm in the gap between the two trapezes. But my heart is beating and my pulse is starting. Cathedrals in my heart. Blinking into to tell me it's alright as we saw. Every song is a symphony, and every tear's a waterfall. It's a waterfall. It's a waterfall. It's a waterfall. Every teardrop is a waterfall.
the first track for today's episode, Avicii Waterfall, the Avicii On2 remix by Coldplay. And yeah, fun fact about the remix, it was never officially released. Tim teased it on his SoundCloud though, and it got featured on a bunch of promos for Avicii Waterfall, but it was never officially released. Next track is My Feelings For You versus Make You Move.
This is the Avicii Podcast.
My feelings for you have always been real. 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 I was so in love with you, I could hardly see. My feelings for you have always been real. After all this time, tell me, can't you feel? Tell me,
yes, as mentioned on our Instagram page a few days ago, we will feature from the next episode on in every episode fan submissions we received over the last couple of months. We won't feature any leaked Avicii tracks just out of respect, but what we can definitely feature are some of his Avicii mashups. And yes, he created a bunch of them, so I think there's enough content to be showcased on this podcast. And one of them is coming up right now, and it's his Beating of My Heart versus Blaze versus I Could Be The One B96 mashup. I personally really like this one. He played it a few times in 2013 and 2014. And yes, I hope you enjoy it.
You're listening to the Avicii Podcast.
Do you think about me when you're all alone? The things we used to do and used to be. I could be the one to make you feel that way. I could be the one to set you free. Do you think about me when the crowd is gone? It used to be so easy, you and me. I could be the one to make you feel that way. I could be the one to set you free.
Avicii.
City lights take me away. Now it's time, we never ever head down. Don't be scared, I am for real. Hide away and we will never be found. It's alright, we never look back. Birds will sing if we fall. It's alright with memories inside. Midnight dust on the floor. Watch it turn into gold. And I don't even know what's real. And I don't know what to feel. I'm your truth in disguise. I'm in love with your lies. 'Cause I can't breathe, can't settle down. I don't know what to feel.
You're listening to the Avicii Podcast live. Well, I don't know if it's live, but you're listening to it on Mixcloud.com. And one goal of this podcast show is also to show the audience tracks you may not know by Tim, because everybody knows Levels, Wake Me Up, Waiting for Love. But also tracks from his early days when he just started out. And one of them is playing right now. It's Nobody Move by Killers and Rockers, an Avicii co-production from 2009. And also one of a few old tracks Tim decided to play in his early 2016 shows. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this one. as mentioned earlier in this podcast, we do have a special guest for today's episode. I don't know if many of you know this, but back in 2022, we already tried to do an Avicii podcast, but the whole concept of the podcast was way differently. It was more like a pure talk show where we would talk with collaborators of Tim and fans from the community about the community. But yeah, there was no music, and eventually we ended up with this format. But nevertheless, we recorded one interview back then with a good friend of mine who has been with me from day one in the Avicii community. And I'm very happy to finally share with you this interview with my good friend Carl, aka Avicii Music Norway. Hey Carl, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on here.
Yeah, thank you for taking your time to join our podcast. I know who you are, of course, but could you please introduce yourself briefly to our listeners?
Yeah. My name is Carl. I'm from Norway, and I'm 24 years old at the moment. And I work in Oslo County as an educator. Back in the day, I used to run a fan site on Twitter and SoundCloud that I called Avicii Music Norway, where I would share content like news about upcoming music, news about unreleased music, and like recordings of music that have been played out in concerts and stuff. And that page did gain some traction. I got 1,000 or so followers or something, and I met you on Twitter.
Oh yes. That's been a while.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you first heard Tim's music, whether it was consciously or unconsciously?
Yeah, for sure. I think it was around 2010, Sick Bromance. But I didn't know that it was Avicii at that time, So, but I wasn't like introduced to Avicii properly before maybe Levels came out. But even then, like I wasn't like really interested in his music. I just knew that he had this really cool song and it was called Levels. I did like hear a couple songs here and there, like I Could Be the One.
Were you already an Avicii fan at the time, or did it happen later?
Yeah, so it was around the time Wake Me Up released. I saw that he released that song. I listened to that song, and then I read in the comments about his Ultra set.
Oh yeah.
And I listened through it, and then I heard this song called Dear Boy. And once again, I was like introduced to like such an amazing melody, and I was like, oh my God, this song, And I remember I waited months for that song. I like checked every day for like when his album came out, and then I saw, oh my God, it's September. But I guess that was the song that kind of like made me like a super fan of Tim and his music.
All right, so now we know how you became a fan.
Yeah.
But what was the reason for you to decide to create an Avicii fan page? You mentioned that the True album caught your interest back then?
Yeah, so it was after the True album was out. The reason why I started like doing this is because I had been like looking through his sets, and he had been playing like a lot of like unreleased music.
Yeah.
And I felt that not a lot of people or like not enough people were aware of his unreleased songs that he played in his live sets. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a SoundCloud and I'm gonna make a Twitter, and I'm gonna like make rips and I'll upload them on SoundCloud and I'll like promote them on Twitter.
And Twitter's also where I got to know you
Yeah.
because of these live rips. You mentioned before that you dived into his concerts.
Yeah.
I'm curious, is there any particular concert that stands out in your memory? What is your favorite Avicii concert?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, the safe bet is to say like, Ultra 2016, because he played like that was like a set full of unreleased music. But I think it's probably one of the 2014 shows. Also because he played so many unreleased songs, but that were also never released. And now I'm thinking about like iconic unreleased songs that you and I love a lot. Like for example, "Love to Hold" with Tom
Odell.
Odell.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. And like "No Placing a Woman" with Billy Joe Armstrong.
If I remember correctly, you had the chance to see one of his concerts live in 2014, right?
Yeah.
Unofficially, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I snuck in. I'm not gonna say how, because you never know who's like listening to this. But yeah, I did go to a show in 2014 at Findings Festival.
As you've mentioned several times in the past, it's been the unreleased songs in particular that led you to decide to create your Avicii fan page.
Yeah.
Many of these songs remain unreleased to this day, and there are no indications that it will change in the near future. I would like to know, what are your wishes, hopes regarding Avicii content in the future in general?
Yeah. What would be like preferable with the family is that I can totally see it from their side that, you know, it's been difficult for them losing a son, you know, someone that's really near and dear to them. But they've also said that they don't want to keep his music locked in. So what I would hope to see from the family is them kind of like starting to communicate more with the community. Maybe do like Ask Me Anything on Reddit and like listen to, okay, what kind of songs are they like interested in hearing, and releasing the songs that we would love to hear.
Carl, thank you for this interview and for taking your time to give our listeners insights into the work you've done in the past for the Avicii community.
Yeah.
And yeah, as always, it was an honor talking to you, man.
Same to you, bro. As always.
Talk to you soon, bro.
See you soon, bro.
is the Avicii Podcast.
you tell me once again how we're gonna be just friends? If you're for real and not pretend, then I guess you can hang with me. When my patience wearing thin, when I'm ready to give in, will you pick me up again? Then I guess you can hang with me. And if you do me right, I'm gonna do right by you. And if you keep it tight, I'm gonna confide in you. I know what's on your mind, there will be time for that too. If you hang, just don't fall recklessly, headlessly in love with me. 'Cause it's gonna be all heartbreak, blissfully painful insanity. If we agree, oh, you can hang with me. When you see me drift astray, out of touch and out of place, will you tell me to my face? Then I guess you can hang with me. And if you do me right, I'm gonna do right by you. And if you keep it tight, I'm gonna confide in you. I know what's on your mind, there will be time for that too. If you hang with me, just don't fall recklessly, headlessly in love with me. 'Cause it's gonna be all heartbreak, blissfully painful insanity. If we agree, oh, you can hang with me. And if you do me right, and if you do me right.
And that was the Avicii exclusive club mix of Hang With Me by Robin. In my opinion, a timeless classic. Basically, it's all Avicii hits, in my opinion. And if you want to become a part of this podcast, of this journey, you can always send us your contribution. It can be anything. It can be a text, it can be a audio where you talk about your experience, about mental health awareness, for instance, or just a music tribute you created for Tim. Everything is allowed. All you have to do is to use our submission form. You can find in our Mixcloud and Instagram bio. And yeah, We are happy for every submission we receive, and with some luck you hear yourself on this podcast show in a few weeks. Coming up is another Avicii mashup, because you can never get enough of them. This is Teenage Crime vs. Little Talks, the Avicii mashup.
Walking around this old and empty house.
So hold my hand, I'll walk with you, my dear.
The stars scream as you sleep, it's keeping me awake.
It's the house telling you to close your eyes.
Some days I can't even trust myself.
It's killing me to see you this way.
'Cause though the truth may not be this, shit will carry our bodies safe to shore. Voice in my head that's holding me back.
We'll tell her that I miss our little talks.
Soon it will be over and buried with our past.
We used to play outside when we were young and full of life and full of love.
Some days I don't know if I am alright.
Your mind is playing tricks on you, my dear.
'Cause though the truth may not be this, shit will carry our bodies safe to shore. Don't listen to a word I say. The screams all sound the same. Though the truth may not be this, shit will carry our bodies safe to shore. We don't wait no precious time. I'm coming home, tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, and they've forgiven my mistakes. I'm coming home, tell the world I'm coming, 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 coming,
Let's go.
Smoking on a joint.
I'm coming
coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom awaits, and they've forgiven my mistakes. I'm coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming, 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 coming,
Cameras ready, prepare to flash. Pictures of these two. Cameras ready, prepare to flash. Pictures of these two. Smoking on a joint.
This is the Avicii Podcast.
Come around, feel the sound. Oh, you make my heart pound. Fill me up, bring me down when I hear your sound. Come around, feel the sound. Oh, you make my heart pound. Fill me up, bring me down when I hear your sound.
Yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show so far. I had my fun, and I'll see you next month for a new episode, including the first fan submissions. Bye.